While I thought we were building a future, my girlfriend was already married and using me for money. He'll never know, she giggled. I kept quiet. 3 days later, there were 28 missed calls on my phone. I never imagined I'd be sharing my personal business with strangers online, but here I am. Honestly, I think this is the only way I can start to process what's happened. The last week has turned my life completely upside down, and I'm still struggling to understand how I didn't see it coming. I'm Ryan, 30 years old, living in Austin. I work as a systems engineer, pretty normal job, nothing glamorous, but it pays the bills. I've always been the kind of guy who keeps his head down, works hard, and tries to be a good partner. I thought I had a future all mapped out with the woman I loved. Her name is Alexa. She's 28, a marketing consultant who always seemed busy, driven, and full of charm. We met a little over 3 years ago at a friend's birthday barbecue. One of those lazy, warm afternoons where people are scattered around with paper plates and cold beers, music low in the background. Alexa walked up to me while I was grilling and made some snarky comment about me burning the burgers. I laughed. She laughed. That was it. We ended up talking the rest of the day, then texting constantly, and within a few weeks, we were inseparable. It felt effortless with her, like we just clicked. She was funny, had this sarcastic streak I loved, and she made me feel like she really saw me. We moved in together about a year ago, splitting rent on a decent 2-bedroom apartment just outside the city center. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. For the first 2 years, things were pretty solid. We argued like any couple, but nothing serious. She talked about wanting to build something real together, maybe start a business one day, maybe even get married eventually. I believed her. I really did. Then, about 6 months ago, things started to shift. Subtly at first. Alexa began working late more often. At first, I didn't think much of it. Her job involved a lot of client meetings and networking events, and sometimes she'd come home exhausted, saying the campaign she was leading was taking over her life. I tried to be supportive. I'd cook, clean, make sure she had time to rest. She always thanked me, kissed me on the forehead, and said I was such a blessing. Then came the money stuff. One evening while we were watching TV, she casually asked if she could use my credit card for a business expense. Something about a client dinner that needed to be charged up front. She said she'd be reimbursed by her company soon, but her own card had a lower limit and might not go through. I didn't think twice. I handed her the card. That one charge turned into several. Over the next couple of months, she'd occasionally ask to use it again. There was always a reason, a conference registration, a space for a client, Uber rides to meetings, etc. She promised she was tracking it all and would pay me back as soon as her reimbursements cleared. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? That's when she offered to handle our shared finances. She framed it as a favor. You're always so busy with work, babe, let me take care of the boring stuff. I'm good with numbers. I didn't love the idea, but she seemed so capable and organized. I figured, sure, why not? The bills were still getting paid, the fridge stayed stocked, and I didn't notice anything major out of place. Looking back, I feel like such an idiot. Our joint savings weren't growing like we'd planned, but I chalked it up to inflation and surprise expenses. I even blamed myself a few times for not contributing more aggressively. Then, last Tuesday, I logged into my credit card account to check something minor. I'd lost track of a Netflix charge, I think. That's when I saw them. Charges I didn't recognize. High-end clothing stores. A luxury spa. A $1,200 charge at a boutique I'd never heard of. At first, I thought maybe someone had stolen my card info. I felt my chest tighten. I screenshotted the charges and texted Alexa. She replied a few hours later. Seriously? Don't you trust me? I told you these were business-related. You're being really controlling right now. That was the first time she'd ever snapped at me like that. It caught me off guard. But I backed off. I told myself I was overreacting. Still, something didn't sit right. That night, she said she was going out to a team dinner, one of those networking things. She kissed me goodbye, grabbed her laptop bag, and left. I waited until she was gone. Then I opened her laptop. I know I shouldn't have. I've never invaded someone's privacy like that before. But my gut was screaming and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I didn't find anything at first, her work email looked normal. But then I noticed her Instagram was still logged in. And that's where everything unraveled. There was a notification from someone I didn't know, congratulations on your wedding. You looked stunning, smiling face with hard eyes. My heart dropped into my stomach. I clicked the comment, which led me to a private account I didn't recognize. And there it was, a wedding post. Dozens of photos. Alexa in a white dress, glowing, standing beside a man I'd never seen before in my life. His arm around her waist. Her smile stretched ear to ear. Caption. Finally married the love of my life. Here's to forever. Ring hashtag just married hashtag happily ever after. The date? 3 months ago. 3 months. I scrolled in disbelief. Ceremony shots. Reception photos. A beachside kiss during what had to be their honeymoon in Cancun. Cancun. The same girls' retreat she begged me to help her afford. The one I gave her $700 toward because she lost her purse the night before the flight. I couldn't breathe. My whole body went cold. I sat there for a long time just staring at those images. Every moment from the past few months ran through my mind like a horror movie. Every I love you. Every dinner I cooked. Every night I stayed up late helping her with fake budgets for her so-called business. The woman I thought I was building a life with had married someone else behind my back. I didn't sleep that night. I don't think I even blinked. I kept refreshing the page as if somehow the photos would disappear or I'd wake up from a nightmare. But they didn't. And I didn't. The next morning I tried to function. I went to work, drank way too much coffee, and told myself to keep it together. But things got worse. That afternoon I stopped by my usual coffee shop near our apartment. I needed air. I needed space. And then I heard her voice. Alexa. She was sitting at a corner table with her friend Chloe, the one she always said was her ride or die. I stayed behind the partition wall and listened. I know, it's messed up. But something told me not to move. What I heard made me feel physically sick. God, Ryan is so gullible, Alexa was saying, half laughing into her latte. He actually thinks I'm running a business. Like, bless his heart, you know? Chloe didn't laugh. I could barely hear her, but she mumbled something like, this feels wrong, Lex. Oh please, Alexa scoffed. Thomas is rich, but he's stingy. At least Ryan lets me use his cards without whining. He's basically my backup wallet. I stood there, gripping my cup frozen in place. They kept talking, laughing, joking about how I never checked my bank statements, how easy it's been to keep the lie going. She said she was planning a girls' trip next month. Guess where? Paris. And guess who's footing the bill? Apparently me. I don't remember walking out. I just know I left. I didn't confront her. Not yet. For the first time in my life I decided to play dumb. Let her think I'm still the same clueless guy she's been manipulating. Let her underestimate me. Because now I have a plan. I've started gathering everything: screenshots, bank records, text messages. My sister, Nora, is letting me stay at her place while I figure things out. I told Alexa I was heading out on an unexpected work trip. She bought it. She keeps texting me, where are you? I miss you, babe. Can we talk? Yeah, we'll talk. But not until I'm ready. The worst part isn't even the cheating. It's the smugness. The way she laughed about it. The way she paraded her betrayal like it was some inside joke I wasn't in on. She thinks I'm stupid. She thinks she won. But this game isn't over. And I'm about to flip the board. After finding out Alexa had married someone else behind my back, you'd think I'd hit my emotional breaking point. But somehow things kept getting worse. And with each new discovery, the numbness I felt began to morph into something sharper, a cold, focused kind of anger. The kind that doesn't come from one moment of betrayal, but from the slow realization that your entire reality was built on a lie. The day after I overheard her and Chloe at the coffee shop, I decided to dig deeper. Not just into the relationship, but into our shared finances, something I'd foolishly handed over to Alexa months ago. We had opened a joint savings account last year, under the premise of saving for a future house. That's how she pitched it. She said it would help us stay accountable and see our progress together. I had set up automatic deposits from my paycheck every 2 weeks. Nothing extravagant, but consistent. I thought we were being responsible. Turns out Alexa had a different plan. That weekend I sat down with a spreadsheet and months of bank statements. I'm not great with numbers, but I know how to track a pattern. And the pattern was clear. She'd been draining our account little by little over the past 6 months. Small withdrawals at first, $200 here, $300 there. Always marked as business expenses or marketing budget. But by the 3rd month, the amounts grew bolder: $1,500, $2,000, even $3,000 at one point. And every time she'd ask me to cover something urgent on my personal card, a deposit for a pop-up event, last-minute flights for networking, I thought it was because she was using her savings for our future. In reality, she was just using my money for her double life with Thomas. Yeah, his name is Thomas. The man in the wedding photos. Her actual husband. After hours of staring at spreadsheets and my credit card transaction history, I felt physically sick. I opened a bottle of whiskey I'd been saving for something special and just sat there on Nora's couch, the weight of it all pressing down on me. Nora came home later that night and found me surrounded by papers, bank apps open on my laptop, the bottle half empty. She didn't say anything at first, just walked over, sat next to me, and put her hand on my shoulder. What did she do now? She asked quietly. I told her everything. Every detail I could remember, the wedding photos, the overheard conversation, the fake business charges, the lies. She didn't interrupt. Just listened. Then, without missing a beat, she stood up, grabbed her own laptop, and said, "Okay. Let's document everything." That's when things started to turn. For the next 2 hours, we went line by line through my accounts. Nora helped me flag every transaction that looked suspicious. We made copies of every receipt, every text message that hinted at investment opportunities, every fake excuse she gave for needing money. By midnight, we had compiled a folder full of evidence. Almost $23,000 had been siphoned out of my accounts over the past year. $23,000. I kept reading that number over and over like it would suddenly make more sense. It didn't. I had given her everything, my trust, my support, my finances. And she used it to build a dream life with someone else. That Monday, I got a message from Chloe. At first, I almost ignored it. After hearing her laugh with Alexa, I assumed she was just as bad. But something about her tone felt different. "Hey, Ryan. Can we meet? I need to talk. Please." We met at a quiet park near Nora's place. Chloe looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her hands were shaking and her eyes were red. She didn't waste time. "I didn't know how far it had gone," she said. "I thought she was just venting. I didn't know she actually married someone else. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. She told us you were just some guy she was casually seeing, that you knew about Thomas and that you were fine with the arrangement because you weren't ready for commitment." I believed her. We all did. She pulled out her phone and started scrolling. What she showed me made my blood run cold. Screenshots. Conversations between her and Alexa. Group chats where Alexa bragged about how she was running the perfect setup. She called me her backup ATM. She joked about how she could get both me and Thomas to buy her the same handbag so she could return one for cash. One screenshot showed Alexa writing, "Ryan just paid for our anniversary dinner. Poor guy thinks I was at a networking gala. I used his card to buy Thomas that watch I showed you smirking face." Another was a photo from the wedding, Alexa in her gown, holding a bouquet with the caption, "Still can't believe I pulled this off. Vows by day, sugar from Ryan by night." I felt like I was going to throw up. But Chloe wasn't done. She pulled up a video from the wedding reception. Alexa laughing, dancing with Thomas while wearing the necklace I gave her for our 2-year anniversary. The same night she texted me saying she missed me and couldn't wait to move into a bigger place together. And the final blow? That emergency dental surgery in March, the one she said required a down payment and asked me to cover? That was actually a week-long trip to Cancun with Thomas. A delayed honeymoon. She used my money for their honeymoon. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember walking through the door. I just remember sitting on the edge of the bed at Nora's and staring at the wall. How do you even process something like that? I didn't sleep. Again. I just sat there, scrolling through all the evidence, reading the messages over and over, replaying the video, listening to her voice in that cafe mocking me. The woman I loved, the one I was planning to propose to, laughing about how easy it was to bleed me dry. And still, she kept texting me. Tuesday morning, I woke up to another message from her. "Hey babe, I have a new opportunity want to talk to you about. Big investment, huge return. Can we meet later?" The audacity was surreal. She was still trying to scam me. I showed the message to Nora and she let out a low whistle. "She's actually trying to squeeze more out of you? After everything?" "Oh, she thinks I'm still buying it," I said. "She thinks I'm still the same idiot who trusted her with my finances." Nora looked at me for a long moment, then smiled. "Then let's let her think that. For just a little longer." And that's when the plan started to form. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to scream at her in the street or show up at her apartment with printed receipts. No. I was going to build something better. Smarter. Something that would make sure she never did this to anyone else again. Over the next few days, I continued playing dumb. I replied to her messages like nothing was wrong. I said I was excited to hear more about the investment. I even told her I was transferring a few thousand into the joint account, which I wasn't. I was actually moving everything out. Meanwhile, Chloe, clearly written with guilt, continued sending me more screenshots and recordings. Turns out Alexa was planning to cash out soon. She had been compiling messages from me where I agreed to give her money, planning to twist them into some narrative where I was an obsessed ex stalking her. She was going to make me look like a threat, just in case Thomas ever found out. I was stunned by how calculated it all was. Every move had a backup plan. Every scam had a contingency. She wasn't just a liar, she was a full-blown con artist. But this time she underestimated the quiet guy in the background. The one who cooked her dinners, bought her flowers, and never raised his voice. Because now? That guy is gone. Now, I'm someone she should have never underestimated. The final message she sent that week was the one that pushed me from angry to ready. Hey babe, I need $5,000 to get this new campaign off the ground. It's time sensitive. Can you help me today? I didn't reply. I just smiled, saved the message, and filed it with the rest of the evidence. This wasn't over. Not even close. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be plotting a takedown of the woman I thought I was going to marry, I would have laughed. I was the kind of guy who believed in second chances, who thought people were basically good, just flawed. That version of me is long gone. What's left is someone focused, cold in a way I never knew I was capable of, and determined to make sure Alexa pays for what she did. I spent the next few days gathering every piece of evidence I could. I didn't just want revenge, I wanted accountability. The kind that couldn't be explained away, the kind that sticks. Nora helped me organize everything. We created a timeline of events, labeled each bank transaction, and paired it with messages where Alexa had asked for money. Chloe kept supplying us with more receipts, audio clips, screenshots, even short videos from their group chats. I was stunned by how open Alexa had been about what she was doing to me, laughing about how easy it was, calling me her finance sidekick, and telling her friends that Thomas would never need to know. She was proud of it. But her arrogance made her sloppy. I started by preparing my exit. Step 1 was getting out of our lease. I met with our landlord in person, a guy named Felix, mid-40s, runs a few properties around Austin. I showed him a folder with proof that Alexa had been living a double life, including the wedding photos and financial documents. He was visibly uncomfortable but nodded the whole time. Yeah, he muttered. This is more than I needed to see. You're off the lease as of the end of the week. And I'll send her a notice. I thanked him and left. My next step was to move out without giving her a heads up. Alexa was still under the impression that I was on a work trip. I'd been texting her periodically, pretending to be exhausted from meetings and late-night flights. She bought it. Even sent me a voice message at one point saying how much she missed me and couldn't wait to cuddle on the couch like old times. The same voice that mocked me just a week ago over lattes with Chloe. I timed it carefully. Early Friday morning, I rented a U-Haul, and with Nora's help, I packed up every single item in that apartment that was mine, down to the mugs I brought from college. Everything Alexa owned, I boxed separately and labeled. Then I called a courier service and had them deliver her things to her office reception desk. No note. No explanation. Just her belongings, returned neatly and without drama. Then I went to the bank. Remember the joint account Alexa set up for the house? I had documentation proving that every deposit into that account had come from my paycheck. Not hers. Mine. I withdrew my portion completely, just under $8,700. The bank manager didn't even blink when I explained. I showed him the spreadsheet and the statements. Everything was legally mine. An hour later, my phone lit up with a call from Alexa. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. Where's all my stuff? Did you seriously cancel the lease? What is wrong with you? Ryan. I'm not joking. This is insane. Call me. Now. I waited a few hours. Then I sent one photo, her wedding picture with Thomas, the one she thought I didn't know about. And underneath it, just one sentence. When were you planning to tell me? Her response was immediate. I can explain. Sure you can, Alexa. That evening, she showed up at Nora's place. I don't even know how she found the address, maybe she remembered me mentioning it once. I didn't let her in. She started yelling in the hallway, pounding on the door. You're ruining everything. That money was for us. For our future. I stood in the doorway, phone recording in hand. I didn't raise my voice. Which future? I asked. The one with me, or the one with your husband? She froze. You don't get to talk to me like this, she snapped. You're right, I said. Let the courts do it. She tried to push past me, but I blocked the door with my arm. Thankfully, there were security cameras in the hallway and Nora was recording from inside. Don't do this, Ryan, Alexa pleaded, her tone shifting. We can work through this. I was confused. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't even answer. I just shut the door. She stood there for a minute, then walked away, but not before shouting, You'll regret this. I doubt it. That night, I finally did what I'd been debating for days. I reached out to Thomas. I'd struggled with the idea. Part of me thought I should let him figure it out on his own. Another part wanted to send him every file I had and let him rage. In the end, I chose the middle road. I messaged him on Facebook politely. Hi, Thomas. I know this is incredibly awkward and I hate being the one to tell you this, but I believe you and I need to have a conversation. It's about Alexa. I'm not trying to cause drama, but I think you deserve to know the full truth. Let me know if you're willing to talk. He didn't reply that night. But the next morning, Saturday, I got a message. Call me. Right now. I did. What followed was a 90-minute phone call that felt like peeling the layers off a rotting onion. At first, he didn't believe me. Then I sent him the wedding screenshots, the receipts, and a photo of Alexa and me dated just 2 months after their wedding. He went silent. When he spoke again, his voice cracked. She told me she was working overtime, that she was trying to build her own brand. I gave her space. I trusted her. I knew that feeling all too well. I'm sorry, man, I said. I wish I didn't have to be the one to tell you. He thanked me. Said he needed time. Said he was going to confront her soon. That same afternoon, Chloe called me in a panic. Ryan, she's losing it. She thinks you hacked her. She's telling people you're obsessed and trying to ruin her life. I laughed. I haven't even begun to ruin anything. I just gave her a mirror. Chloe paused. Thomas knows now? Yeah. Oh boy. She hung up. That night was quiet. Too quiet. And then Monday came. The confrontation. The final act began on a Monday. I didn't plan it to fall that way. I wasn't out for some poetic symmetry or dramatic punch. But there was something fitting about it. The beginning of a new week. A new chapter. And for Alexa? The beginning of the end. It started with a message from Thomas around 9:30 a.m. I'm going to confront her today. She's meeting a client at that cafe near her office. 2 p.m. I asked if he wanted me there. His reply came fast. Yes. I want her to see everything. So I got there early. Sat across the street at a quiet little diner with outdoor seating, a clear view of the cafe. Coffee in hand, headphones in, though I wasn't playing anything. I was wired enough without music. At 1:55, Alexa walked in. Dressed sharp, phone in hand, that same polished confidence she always wore when she thought the world was hers for the taking. She sat down, ordered something, and started scrolling through her phone. Maybe texting Thomas. Maybe some new guy she was already lining up to replace me. Who knows? At 2:04, Thomas arrived. He didn't sit down. He walked straight up to her, phone raised, and said loud enough for the entire cafe to hear. 3 years, Alexa. You were lying to me for 3 years. Heads turned. Her expression shifted instantly from surprised to annoyed. Thomas, what are you talking about? Can you lower your voice? No, he snapped. You don't get to tell me what to do. You were living with another man while you were married to me. She stood up, glancing around nervously. Can we please take this outside? You're making a scene. He pulled up a photo on his phone, the one I'd sent, of Alexa and me together, time-stamped, taken 2 months after their wedding. Explain this, he said, holding the screen inches from her face. And the bank transfers. And the Cancun trip you said was for work stress. I watched from across the street, heart racing. People had started filming. A couple of cafe employees were hovering by the pastry case, whispering. Then the door opened. Chloe walked in. Right on cue. I hadn't coordinated anything with her. She did this on her own. Alexa turned pale the moment she saw her. You, she hissed. What the hell are you doing here? Chloe looked her dead in the eyes. I'm done protecting you. Alexa blinked, mouth slightly open. Are you serious? Chloe turned to Thomas. She's been lying to both of you. I was there when she picked out the apartment with Ryan. I was there when she laughed about scamming you both. I kept quiet because I thought it wasn't my place, but I'm not doing it anymore. The cafe went dead silent. Thomas slowly turned back to Alexa. So it's all true? Alexa's voice cracked. No. No. She's making it sound worse than it is. Ryan was he was obsessed. He kept showing up, I didn't even. And that's when I walked in. I didn't say a word. I just stood there by the entrance, watching her face collapse. Her eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. I gave her a casual nod. Hey, Alexa, I said. Still interested in that investment opportunity you mentioned? Thomas looked between us, realization hitting him like a truck. He backed up, ran a hand through his hair, then said something I'll never forget. You had everything. And you destroyed it for what? Free dinners and a second credit card. Alexa spun toward me. You think you're so clever, she spat. You think this makes you a hero? I raised an eyebrow. No. I think this makes me free. She lunged for my phone, the same one I'd used to record her breakdown at Nora's. I stepped back before she could touch me. Don't, I warned. We're in public. People are filming. Don't add assault to your resume. A cafe manager finally came over. He looked overwhelmed, clearly unsure whether to intervene or call security. Thomas stepped forward. We're done, Alexa. I'm filing for divorce. Don't come back to the apartment. I already packed your things. Alexa's voice cracked again. You can't just leave me like this. I gave you everything. Thomas laughed, bitter and hollow. You gave me nothing but lies. He turned and left. Chloe followed a moment later, whispering I'm sorry to both of us as she passed. And then it was just me and Alexa. She stared at me for a long time. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You ruined my life. I didn't flinch. No, I said. You did that all on your own. Then I walked out. That wasn't the end, of course. The fallout over the next few weeks was dramatic, to say the least. Alexa tried to play damage control. She went around telling people I had hacked her accounts, that Chloe was jealous of her marriage, that Thomas had been abusive and I had taken advantage of her vulnerability. It didn't work. Screenshots don't lie. Chloe sent the full evidence package to half of Alexa's inner circle. Nora helped me create a backup folder I forwarded to Thomas's divorce lawyer. Multiple people blocked Alexa on social media. A few messaged me to apologize for believing her version of events. Her reputation, the polished, always-in-control businesswoman, cracked hard. And then the job went. Turns out she had been stealing from her employer. Nothing massive, just small bits here and there. Personal Uber rides charged to the company, dinner receipts that didn't match client meetings, that sort of thing. But after the scene at the cafe went semi-viral, thanks TikTok, someone from her office put the pieces together. She was fired by the end of the week. She tried to spin that too. Claimed she was leaving for mental health reasons. No one bought it. Her lease with Thomas was terminated. She moved her things into storage. Tried staying with a friend that lasted 3 nights. Chloe heard from someone that Alexa was crashing on a cousin's couch in San Antonio. She'd sold a few designer items to stay afloat. Her car got repossessed when she missed 2 payments. Why? Because I wasn't her ATM anymore. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. But I won't pretend it didn't feel satisfying to see justice, real, quiet, natural justice, unfold without me lifting more than a finger. I filed a small claims case for the money she took from me, nearly $23,000, with clear evidence for every dollar. The court date is set for next month. I don't care whether she can pay me back or not. I just want the judgment on record. I want there to be a paper trail, a consequence she can't spin into something else. As for me, I'm okay. Better than okay, honestly. I'm not going to say I've moved on, that takes time. But I've started sleeping through the night again. I've stopped checking my bank account 3 times a day. And for the first time in months, I don't feel like I'm drowning in something I can't name. Nora's been my rock through all this. And weirdly enough, she introduced me to someone, a friend of hers named Emily. We've gotten coffee a few times. Nothing serious. Just nice. She knows the whole story. When I asked her if it weirded her out, she smiled and said, actually, I think it's amazing that you stood up for yourself. Maybe that's what this whole thing was about. Not revenge. Not getting even. Just standing up for myself. Finally, Alexa thought she was untouchable. That she could play people forever and stay 1 step ahead. But the truth? You can only lie your way through life for so long before it catches up to you. And when it does, well, the fall is never graceful.